is 100 minus 40, there are 60 unit separation between the smallest data to the bigger data, meaning they are spread out a lot. And the bigger the spread of your data, if they spread out a lot, then we can see that the standard deviation got to be bigger because the average of that spread out is your standard deviation, right? So again, as you can see right here, your deviation right here is 34.22, right? The range is so high, right? Last time we have like 5, 3, 1, -1, 3, -3, -5, right? The range is so small. So again, because they are cluttered together, that's why your range, if the smaller the range, the smaller the deviation, the standard deviation, right? The bigger the range, the bigger the standard deviation, because your data, as you can see, is very spread out. Okay? So again, it's not the mean dictate your standard deviation, is the range. Okay, so again, that's why we have the same mean doesn't dictate that we have the same standard deviation. So that's the only thing we have in terms of that. So before I try have one last information to show you guys, any question with the 6 steps to find the standard deviation. And again, create this chart, is be a little bit easier. Write your data, find your deviation, square the deviation, add the deviation square or add the square of the deviation, divide by n-1, take a square root. And again, I have, I will post this link, I will post this slide up on Canvas. You will have the step there for you to copy down. So any question with the 6th step here? If you don't have a question, the last thing I want to mention for 11.4 is sometimes they don't ask you. Sometimes Alex might not ask you for the sample standard deviation. They might change a small word on you guys, and they ask you for the population variance and the population standard deviation. So again, the sample, reminder last time, the sample is a portion of the population. So if they ask you for the population, then at the step 5, right? After step 5 is basically when you divide, is after step 5, not step 4. At step 5, not the step 4. At the variance, you do not divide by n-1, rather than you just divide by n. Meaning in this case, because they ask you for the population, we use every single number of data we have. The sample we have to, because the sample is smaller than the population, so we have to take n-1. We have to take 1 less than the population, right? But if they ask you for the population, you have to divide by the total number of data, which is the whole n, not n-1. Okay? So pay attention when you do your homework or your quiz. Pay attention is, are they ask you for the sample, or do they ask you for a population? That's one thing that I know last semester and the semester before, my students have, they get frustrated because they do the 6 steps and then Alex tell them that it's wrong. It's because there's a small word is population, and then they keep on divide by n-1. So again, if they ask you for population, you do not divide by n-1, you divide by total, which is the n. Okay, everything is the same. It's just that when you divide at step 5, when you divide, you do not divide n-1. Okay? You divide by n, which is the n is the total number of data. Okay? So look out on that when you do your homework, your quizzes, or your tests. Look out if they ask you for population or do they ask you for sample. Okay? The step is the same. It's just that one small item is you divide by the total n versus you divide by n-1, a smaller item, which is the sample. Okay. Question with this thing here. Question with the standard deviation or the variance or anything here.
No, that's pretty easy. But when I did the test, chapter 10. I mean, the homework is easy, but when I get to the test, I didn't do very well.
Well, now you have a second chance.
I
Now
do?
you have
Okay.
the second attempt to do that test again. So just study, just prep yourself, and then see when you feel comfortable, and then retake that test.
Okay, I will. Thank you. I didn't think I could take it again. I thought it was just for the people who didn't do
No,
it.
to make it fair, because it's real unfair for you guys who did it on time and get penalized. So I just give you guys give you guys a second chance.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right.
I'm glad I was able to. The other times I haven't been able to get through. I'm glad I could get through this time.
All right. If you have question, please stay back. If not, if you have any other question that I did not address, shoot me an email, and I will try to address whatever question you have. And again, this is all the information we have for today. I will see you guys, or you guys will see me on Monday. We will try to cover the rest of chapter 11. So be safe, and if you don't have question, have a good night and have a good weekend.